Yeah, so we'll definitely be we're staying right in the middle of that whole process to to see what the rents will look like. We were on another call last night with a few people, and the new HUD FMRs came out. The fair market rents came out for 2025, so we were all checking out our markets to see what if they're the same or higher or what. But a couple of the zip codes that we're in St. Louis actually went down from
Really
2024. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So, but the one that we're closing on on the 5th, the zip code that one's in is going up. So we checked all the other, because I think you guys know that we're in like 4 or 5 different markets. All the other markets that we're in have slight increases. It's just the St. Louis, the one zip code that we're in right now, went down a little bit. I think one saving grace will be that one currently is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and we're going to be making it a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So even though the rents might not typically be as high as they would be for a 3-bed, 1-bath, since we're going from a 2 to a 3, there will be an increase. So that will, for that property, it will be a plus.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting to hear that it came out a little bit. Some markets are going down a little bit, especially because I'm kind of in the process trying to figure out what market I want to go to out of state and kind of get out of California. So St. Louis is one of them, but that's definitely something to look out for. So
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously, um, the other thing that changed on the FMR this time around is that they went by zip code. Usually, it's just the county. When you look it up, it'll show the county, the state, the county, and the year for the fair market rents, and then it goes across from studio up to 4 bedrooms, and it lists all the prices. But this year, or for 2025, they went by zip code, which was interesting. So, if you are looking around in St. Louis or whatever market, and you look up the fair market rents, you'll obviously know what zip code you're looking at, and then you can tell. It'll give you usually the 2024 FMR, and then now the new one that would take effect on January 1st. So that's the other thing that we're hoping, if we get these filled soon, they would be at the 2024 rents. And that should give us another year of decent rents before things might change and either be flat or, maybe decrease a little bit.
was the decrease pretty significant in that one, or was it just something kind of minuscule? Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about here? Just
Yeah. No, for example, so it was about $120 on the one because for 2024, for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, the FMR was $1,208. For 2025, it's $1,090. So that one was a good drop, but that one
yeah,
is
and
the only one that's,
yeah, that's pretty good, and that's just average too. You know what I mean? So some people might be getting more or less, but depending on I guess, the quality of your product or house. But
yeah,
it's interesting.
that should come into play as well. So that's what we're looking at right now. And, and like you and I talked about, we'll definitely keep you guys posted on what happens, whatever happens. That way you guys will have up-to-date information too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, that was kind of an area that I've been piquing interest to. A lot of the reason just because a few of you guys are in it
Mhm.
that I've talked to in general, kind of helps out when you guys are there versus me going into a blind market, But yeah, it's interesting, something to look out for too.
Yeah, there have been a few other challenges. You've probably heard people talking about Millennial Mike and him being in Gary, Indiana, and they've done pretty well there. Well, he has done very well there. But one of the things that has come up since he's made the area so popular, they're having a little bit of trouble finding contractors,
Hmm.
things, because there's been so many investors going there that there's not enough contractors to do the work for everybody. So a couple people in that we know in the group have had to wait a little bit longer to get their repairs done, to get the rent readies done. And then there was it was a little bit slow filling the units as well. So that's taken a little bit longer than they thought it might. So wherever you go, at least all that information would be available to you if you picked a spot like Gary or wherever you're going, with people that are doing it already.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, like I said, I'm still looking around and trying to browse and pick an area, but yeah, it's all good information. I've only heard the good so far, but it sounds like some things in certain spots might be changing a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Have you looked into any other areas so far for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing basic stuff. I was like just on Coffee Chasers yesterday, like referencing their kind of thing, and they had like Birmingham, Alabama. There was like Rochester, New York, but I just don't know if I want to be in New York. That's like going from California to New York. I mean, from bad laws to bad laws. So I don't know. I'm still kind of open. I'm still trying to learn, get some things dialed in here first, but with the California properties. So
Yeah, there was somebody in the chat today looking for I was surprised because they have apparently a 16 unit building that they're looking for like a live-in property manager, I think. I'm always surprised when I see people investing here in California.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've been doing, but I kind of have like a little team here and a property manager, and it's worked out really well. So it's hard to leave, but I just know I can get some better bang for my buck and kind of work towards the goal of cash flow a little quicker going out of state versus here. But I'll probably hang on to what I have here and keep the appreciation and cash flow. And then I think my next step is really jumping in on the out of state and going more heavy cash flow. But still, got to jumping out of state's kind of hard. So I just got to find the right market. So
Yeah, and even if you did find a market, to go ahead and concentrate on it and analyze it for a few months before you jump in anyway. So it's going to take a little while. We, Cynthia and I kind of fell into these markets because we were going after so-called turnkey deals, and they were in a bunch of different states. So a few weeks ago, we had Allie Boone on with us, and she's a turnkey promoter. In the beginning, we connected with her, and we were looking at some of the markets that she knew turnkey providers in. That's why we're kind of scattered, because the first 3 deals we got were turnkeys in different cities. So, but since we landed in St. Louis, we've been liking it. Our agent, we really like our agent there and our property manager there, and our lender Brian, who's been on with us before. He's right there in St. Louis as well. So we're kind of starting a team, bigger team than we have anywhere else. So we have a lot of good resources to talk about neighborhoods and class of properties and things like that. So, and all that information, we're happy to share with you guys if any of you want any of that information. I know a couple people in the group have already reached out to our agent there and got a chat with her and the property manager and Brian. So I was thinking about this meeting, this get together, and I'm not sure. I know some of you joined us later in the journey, but I really just started doing this to facilitate and help you guys connect with each other and hear what you're going through, and like we have been over the past few weeks, just talking about things that you're interested in. So I hope if any of you have any thoughts today, you can share those with us. We can probably there aren't too many of us yet, but maybe we can head around the room and see what you guys have going this week. How about you, Jeffrey? How are you? Have you started your electrical rework?
So yeah, that's the big knob and tube, adventure. So we've canvassed the major electricians in the city. There's like 8 of those that my assistant has called and discussed how to get a quote and that kind of thing. We did get a quote from our current electrician, who's one of the biggest in the city, if not the most respected in the city. It's $24,000 for the building, for the entire building. And then I'm also going on the Facebook groups for that historic district and just asking them for cheap electricians. The rationale is, if these guys aren't known on, the Google business, referral networks and have a bunch of reviews on their big websites or something, and they're being passed around via referral, that they might be, their labor they might have a discount just due to simple supply and demand. And talked to Robert about that last night on his call, and he kind of corroborated that. Like when you kind of corner the market where somebody's a little less known, they're a little bit more of a secret, they're going to be cheaper maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so at a $24K job, he estimated maybe we could save, between 3 and 7 maybe, just by getting the right person who's not already blown up, So that's also something we're going to narrow down with those referrals, because I think we got 3 or 4 so far. And if we find a really good one, the nice thing is that, we'll have electrical work for them for years to come, and we'll save more money for years to come, because, right now we're working with one of the more expensive electrical contractors in the city. So that's the plan, is to put in some serious work on finding a diamond in the rough. Yeah, that's kind of still the big event that we're working through. So hopefully by the end of the week we'll have some things pared down with that, and hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll make a decision. That's where we're at.
Well, that's good. It sounds like you're making progress, and that is, well, something Matt always went over in his course, right? Like you said, the busy contractors will throw out larger numbers because they are busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the referral thing is pretty smart, because there might be some smaller guys that can still handle a job that size that, don't have as much overhead or things like that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The overhead is a big thing as well. So, I want a really good electrician with a bad business. But they're not really great at business, but man, they can do the rewiring just great. And so they're gonna, they're competing on price, so we get them.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Thanks.
Hey, Michael, have you had any progress in your dilemma about switching markets?
I think I gave myself a rough timeline. I think I'm gonna do what I'm doing now until it gets close to when I have to eventually move, and then I think then, because I'm noticing the town next over Greensboro, town's more huge city, it's like the 3rd biggest city in the state, but there's like a lot of stuff going on there. And I've noticed a lot of the multifamily stuff that pops up seems to be there too. And so I think after I move, I'll expand my buy box there and then hang tight until next summer. And then if nothing's happened by next summer, I'll figure out what to do from there.
Mm-hmm. And you were, could you remind me, were you looking at single families?
Right now, yeah, it's the only thing in my affordable range.
Okay. And you're moving from where to where?
So I got lucky and managed to buy a primary townhouse in 2020 before everything exploded in price.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna move back home with parents so that I can force this to be a rental.
Okay,
And then that'll kind of be like a way to, I don't know, cheat my way into getting a rental.
yeah, no, that's a good option. So have you, even if you're not, if you're looking for single family, like Chester was mentioning last week, have you played around with any other asset classes like duplexes or things like that?
Not yet. And that is eventually on the goal, but it's partial affordability and then being perfectly honest, partial is
No,
like
Trevor,
partially is like nerves because it's like I've
come on.
not really done
We're almost done, okay?
landlording of a
Why don't you
whole.
clean up and then we'll be finished. We'll be ready for dinner. Okay, after. Why don't you finish cleaning up and then we'll be ready.
So I haven't done landlording of a whole property that I wasn't in. So I've had a couple roommates that I'm here, so it's like I'm taking care of my house, but they're also here, so kind of grade the line between roommate and landlord. Um, and I'm nervous to do it with like a multi-family, just because I figured if I was going to make a mistake, I'd make the mistake 3 times as opposed to just like working out the small kinks with just like a single family. And it's like, oh, okay, I should probably do this, and this, and then less likely to step on a super expensive landmine that my bank can't handle.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. There are some differences between singles and multis that you probably know, like some of the utilities need to be covered by the landlord and things like that. And we were talking a while back about that difference. And in everything that we purchased so far, the multifamily has been a great choice. The single families are so simple because the tenant takes care of all that stuff, all the utilities, all the snow removal and yard work and things like that. So that simplicity is really nice. I think with the one that we're supposed to close on here in the beginning of September, that would be 5, 6 singles. So probably after that, we'll start hunting again for a 2, 3, or 4 unit. So just a couple of the differences there, but
Yeah, the only downside of it being a townhouse is it is in an HOA. So far they've been pretty reasonable as far as um avoiding what's it called when they do like a whole big renovation on the whole thing at the same time.
yeah, being wrapped up into that whole,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Like
about.
like an assessment or something.
Yeah, special assessment. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of the word. So it's like they're doing pretty good to avoid that because they said in the newsletter it's like, okay, these sections we're replacing the roofs, and then these sections will be next year. And they specifically said we're trying to avoid a special assessment. So that's a good thing to read. But it's still just like being in an HOA is always like, but I don't really have a choice because it's the place that I bought. So
Right. Well, yeah, and you might have more options later on. I mean, if you turn it into a rental and when you get things worked out and stabilized like that, you might find a way to either 1031 it or move into a different property after selling that one and buying
Yeah.
something different that's not in an HOA. So yeah, but you got to start somewhere.
that's kind of keep telling myself it's like it doesn't it's a got hella lucky because of just the timing that I wasn't planning at all. But it's like it'd be a decent deal if I were to buy it for what I got it for. So,
Mhm.
All of our single families are in HOAs. And after hearing, I think recently Dion was talking about how he would never never buy an HOA, property in an HOA. And so I confront, my mother was the one that bought them. And so I'm just managing them. And I confronted her. I was like, is this smart? Do we want all our single families in HOAs? And her argument was, those are the best neighborhoods. Those are the nicest looking neighborhoods. You know, and I was like, well, Dion says that doesn't translate to market value and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know, but that's a fact for us. And we make money. We make money on
Yeah.
them somehow, wrestling with the HOAs here and there.
I think it was one of the Three Amigo ones. I think Lumberjack was the one that spooked me, where he was just like, out of the blue, I got this. And I forget what exactly the number was, but it was enough to be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's a big number.
Wasn't
I
it?
wonder what the details were to that. You know, I wonder like how many units were in that HOA and you know what were the specifics, because I mean it would seem like those kind of ridiculous special assessments for reasonable HOAs with large enough unit counts or large, you know, enough homes that wouldn't be as likely. But again, that's all over my head. Like I'm uninitiated in that respect.
I was just in Florida for a month, basically, in a condo there, just, you know, renting it, talking to all the people that live there, which they have 11 buildings with like 60 units in each one. Their HOA doubled from 1,000 to 2,000, and they're getting hit with a $25,000 assessment they got to come up with because they changed the laws in Florida, and they have to have hurricane windows, and the roofs, you know, got to be sold.
Yep.
So it's good until it's not is the problem. But Florida's a special, no area.
So was that in Miami or South Florida or somewhere else?
It was in Longboat Key in Sarasota,
Okay.
but they're right on the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm sure worse than most.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the nightmare in Florida right now is the condos, evidently.
Yes.
And obviously they all have whatever, a condo association, HOA, that kind of thing, and maybe that's part of it. It's just the legal side, but yeah, there's this mass exodus from condos. I mean, when I talked to my mother about that, she just was like, I won't buy a condo. Condos are garbage, but she's okay with HOA, so single family.
How long have your family had those units? A long time.
Long time, like 15 years. So I mean, it's just a dream because, like you said, it's the tenant handles the upkeep, but we've had it for so long with all that rent appreciation that I mean, they're single family homes, but they cash flow kind of like a multifamily now, because rent appreciation on those single family homes, that's a thing too, you know. So yeah, they're a dream. I mean, having a balanced portfolio between these different asset types seems like for those of us that aren't like Zuber, like we're not necessarily like economists that can gauge where the market's at. It's kind of like who is it? Ray Dalio, the hedge fund manager. He has this all weather portfolio. It's like this is just like the portfolio that you should always have forever. It seems like that kind of maybe starts to move you in that direction of like not everything is always going to be perfect, but it's kind of the best balance for whatever markets you're going through without having to be so agile.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about that also because all the stuff that we're buying to get started was, say, in C-class areas, and I could see us transitioning a little bit further down the road into a little bit nicer properties. Like again, the one that we're closing on next month is in the agent calls it a superior neighborhood compared to where we're currently investing. So little moves like that, not necessarily say up into B class properties, but C plus at least, and then maybe later on move up and get a couple of Bs, like you said, to be diversified that way. I think, and like we were saying, Michael, later on, you know, no matter what happens, once you get started, you'll have more options, you know, just learning everything that everybody here has to share. There was somebody on the school community today, because Zuber's talking about people throwing ideas at him for content so he can make videos about certain things, and somebody in there was talking about more information on 1031s, but if you guys have seen Michelle in here, she went through the whole 1031 thing a few months ago, and she has a lot of great information to share when she jumps in here. So things like that will help us in the future. I don't imagine. I mean, like a year or two ago, I could never imagine needing to do a 1031, but now, you know, that we have some properties, and like Matt was talking about, reassessing your portfolio, and, you know, getting rid of the non-performers or lower performing properties, and then being able to move up into something through 1031. So just another one of those tools to keep handy, even if you're not ready to use it today.
Yeah, just something to keep in the back pocket.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Hi, Chester. Do you have some news to report this week? You're muted.
Thanks. Double mute always gets me. Just as I was hopping in, somebody was, I don't know, I guess talking to their child. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure I double mute. So, but sometimes it can backfire, as you saw. But the news that I have for this week is not huge news, but it will lead to huge news, and that is the last of the hurdles, I guess if you could call it, for the assessment just came back, and they came back at $1,000 over asking after the reassessment, which means that after the underwriter finishes everything up, I'll be clear to close.
That's
So
awesome. Awesome. Congratulations. And, you know, it was funny because I hadn't heard that the first appraisal came in was it $10,000 under?
9,000, but yeah, it was pretty significant.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know where I was, but that's awesome. And that doesn't happen too often, right? To get a second assessment or a reassessment and have it go that well. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Brian, and admittedly, I will definitely give Brian his kudos and props, because he was like preparing me and was like saying, "Hey, I've seen it, but you know, out of 10 times, maybe one or two will something like this happen.
Mhm.
So worst comes to worst, maybe meet in the middle, you know, maybe ends up, you know, $2,000-3,000 off, and then just have the discussion from that point with the provider, and then just kind of say, hey, you know, what seems fair or whatnot. But now we don't even have to concern ourselves with that. So literally, that was the last thing that we were. Uh, I don't want to say sweating bullets on. I'd rather say it was a point of concern, but we simply decided, hey, you know, we know what value has gone into the property. Um, the turnkey provider went to bat, provided everything. And so, yeah, just happy, excited, a little bit anxious, I'll be honest, because now it's like, all right, now there's nothing in the way. It is go time. And I think we're set for, it sounds like next Friday. Like, as long as the underwriter says, hey, ready to rock and roll. And I got them all of the documentation. They asked for a bunch of it yesterday. So I was like, you know what?
Nice.
Just literally put my headphones on and just started knocking them out one after the other. So shortly after midnight, sent everything off. It was like, hey, you got everything you need. So like I
Yeah.
said,
Great.
so yeah. So
Yeah.
eventually I'll be hitting Zuber up to say, hey, need a golden ticket there, guy.
Here's my ticket. Yeah. Awesome. Um,
Yeah.
what did you make me think of? Yeah, what you were talking about, that those last minute asks, you know, from the underwriter. You know, we've talked before about trying to be pre-underwritten, and even at that stage, you know, in our case on the last one we just closed on, it was like the day before we were supposed to close, and they're calling for us. You guys know our story. We went through bankruptcy in 2010, and when that happened, the mortgage on our primary kind of just fell off of the radar, and so it doesn't show up. But inevitably, at the last moment, every time we purchase something, it comes up, and they say, "Hey, we got to get on the phone with you," and it's with Mr. Cooper. So we get on the phone, 3-way call. Then they're just verifying, that we haven't missed any payments and that kind of thing. But the day before, we think we're all set, and then that kind of stuff happens. So we're hoping
man.
we're supposed to close on one on the 5th. That since the last one was so fresh, maybe they won't need anything else on this one. So,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Now, is it all with the same lender, or I'm just more curious than anything, is it all going through Brian as well, or is it?
Yeah, so we're with Brian on the loan and everything, and he called and asked for the same underwriter
Okay.
that worked with us on the last one, so that he's familiar with all the special stuff they asked for and all the verifications, because they called Cynthia's job as well to verify her employment and things like that. So yeah, so he's trying to stick with the same guy that's familiar with our case, so that hopefully will minimize those last minute calls too.
Yeah. And I see Lars. It looks like Lars, you have your hand up.
Oh, it looks like he does.
I guess maybe not. Maybe it was just kind of just like a high five or congratulate. I'm seeing now in the chat, so I definitely appreciate it, everybody. Yeah, I say it's been a long journey. It's been, what is that? Maybe 3 years?
Sorry. Hey, congrats.
Thanks,
Hey,
Lars.
Chester, congrats, man. Yeah, I had my hands raised. I couldn't figure out how to freaking unmute this thing. I lowered my hand before I unmute. Anyways, using the damn phone. Yeah, hey, congrats on that. I have I wanted to point out about HOAs. I guess HOAs kind of come in different flavors, because the HOAs up in Delaware, like the HOAs in the neighborhoods that I have single family homes in, they only charge $35 or $40 a year. That's just for snow removal. And so that HOA doesn't do anything other than you pay it for snow removal. And I don't know. It just seems like I've been successful in avoiding HOAs. But yeah, I have a whole thing against HOAs, because even if somebody who currently runs HOAs good and does everything right, doesn't mean the next person will. And so I have a hard time with HOAs unless it's something like you pay $40 for snow removal or something like that. So, and then
Yeah.
I also wanted to kind of, just as someone who works at a bank, and I'm not talking to you as a banker, but I'm talking to someone with some knowledge. Anyways, I would advise everybody here, if you have HELOCs, like I do, use them. Because if the banks get in trouble and they start freezing HELOCs, the first ones they're gonna freeze are the ones that haven't been used in over a year. And then obviously the people who don't make payments, those are gonna get frozen or whatever. But also the people who just don't use them, they'll get frozen too. And and I can tell you, as we have kind of cracked down on lines of credit that aren't being used in commercial banking. So I imagine in residential banking, it's going to start happening as well. So I never said that, but there you go. I would just recommend that if you have a credit line that you want to stay open, should the bank get in a little trouble or whatever, now may be a good time to just make sure, put a small balance on it for a month or two, then pay it off if you don't want to use it, just to make sure if they start closing lines, yours isn't one of the first ones to get closed. So that's just kind of my recommendation for anyone that's like me, who has a HELOC that they may use for down payments or repairs or whatnot. Just carry a small balance on it if you haven't used it, and just so when they're going around and start closing them, yours doesn't get caught up in that. Because I will tell you, an environment where that can become very useful is if they go around and start closing all of the HELOCs, and yours is one of the last 20, 30 remaining, and credit has really tapped down on on, underwriting is really tying up, the one who wins is the one who has credit that can afford to buy something, or the one who has cash. But
Yeah.
those are your two winners in that scenario. So that's something I always kind of keep track of. Is I want to make sure that nothing gets closed, even if I don't have a balance on it. I always want to put a little bit on there, like at least once a year, just for 40 days or something like that, and pay it off just to make sure mine doesn't get closed. So I just want to kind of give everybody that heads up, and just some stuff I've been seeing in the banking industry.
That's a great tip. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
See who's
that's good stuff.
yeah.
So,
I see Val, you're here with us tonight. How you doing?
I am great, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Glad
Hey,
glad
man.
to see you.
Yes, glad to be here. Appreciate Chester. I'm sorry. Congrats, Chester. Appreciate the other guy that dropped the information about the HELOCs and all that. So, hey, man, I'm just here, just taking all, just absorbing all the good energy, man, and the good vibes, man. Y'all out here doing it, killing it. So, just love the interaction for sure. So, definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great. I was when I saw your name, I remembered that you had asked about the Zuber shirts, about the ORAT shirts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in that, I just wanted to let you know, and everybody here, if you haven't seen the video about what we're trying to do with Zuber and the Blind Center with the new ORAT t-shirt design, you might want to check it out, or we hope you'll check it out. And we're selling the t-shirts. They're $30 each. And that includes the shirt, the shipping, and a $10 built-in donation that we'll present to Zuber in February that he will give to the Blind Center. We're hoping to sell 100 shirts. That would give us a nice round $1,000 for Zuber to present. And on that video, there's a link to order the shirt. But Val, you emailed me if you still want a shirt. You can go back to the video. There's one on my channel too. There's a video on my channel for it, but they have a PayPal link, and you can order your size, and it'll ask for your address. That way we know where to ship it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll get back on it.
Yeah, I think you said you were 3X. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. Who else is with
I have a
us?
question, if you guys don't mind me asking.
No, of course. Go ahead.
Has anyone ever done a 203K loan? I bring that up because my son may be moving out to Delaware. We were on vacation out there, and he's kind of thinking of going to school or whatnot. But anyways, maybe moving out to Delaware. There's a house we found that they can only sell to owner aux for the first 30 days. That needs a lot of repairs, and so I think there's no way an owner aux, unless they're going to come in with cash, is going to buy it. But it's in a nice neighborhood and it's relatively close to some hospitals and so forth. So that'd probably make it easier to get some roommates, like traveling nurses or something like that, as roommates. And we're looking at, like, it needs, like I said, probably 2 or 3 K is probably realistic, the only way we're gonna be able to afford it. And so I was just wondering if anybody ever had experience, everybody had experience in, if they have any recommendations how to go about that.
I've never used one myself. The only one I can think of that would probably have some experience with that would be Matt. You went through his course, didn't you, Lars?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I would probably reach out to him, and I'm sure he would have some good information for you.
You can probably Google this, but what's the high level on the 203K loan? Is that a loan on top of the mortgage?
Yeah, it's an FHA. It's basically an FHA construction loan.
Okay.
Essentially what it is. Now what I don't know and what I've been I don't know if that is construction to perm or if that's just the construction. But that's kind of but anyways, I was just wondering if anybody gone through it. Was it painful? Was it not? It's obviously more involved because you have to have a HUD like contractor and some other stuff there. But I just didn't know if anybody here had gone through it personally where they can kind of tell me their experience. I mean, I see what the paperwork says, what the internet says, but obviously never done it. I just figured I'd ask if anybody's ever done it just because, again, how painful was it? What are some tips? All that fun jazz.
I was gonna say too, Lars, either your son is very tall or you're not. Which is it?
My son is 6'3" and he still has another growth spurt to go.
Okay. Yeah, we were checking out your pictures when you guys were out there. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm only 5'10". He's 6'2" to 6'3". I can't remember which one he is, but anyways, and he still probably has another growth spurt to go, so he'll probably end up being 6'5", 6'6".
Okay, cool. Who else is here? Kevin, you're back. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Frank?
Going great. How was your week?
Not too bad. Just a lot of family stuff going on. So, yep.
Okay, cool. Glad to see you.
Yeah. Try to see everyone here.
Let's see who else is here. Robert, how's your journey going? Are you there? Maybe just listening. Pat,
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Robert.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Still trying to rehab a unit. Actually, since I'm right here on site, why don't I turn my camera on and get your opinion on something?
Sure.
Now, I have had awful luck with doing this on my phone, but let's see. All right, can you see my face?
Yes.
All right. So this is for LVP. All right. Here's my question. Can you see, like, what's my camera showing?
No, it looks like towards your.
Can you see it, or is it just?
Yeah, we can
What?
see it. The floor and the wall, the corner.
All right. Yeah. All right. So here's the subfloor that's exposed. So there is a definite dip right here in the subfloor right here. So what I've been thinking here is I'm going to take some base OSB, trim up some like thin 1/4-inch plywood and just like have a shim at the end down there to just make it a little more level on there. And then on top of this, install the plank, and then gonna have to cut this back, I believe, if I'm raising it then. And then all this stuff, hopefully at that point, should be covered by baseboard because I'm using Matt's his 7 1/4 speed base he recommends, which I forget how exactly big it is. 12 inches is here, so like 7's like somewhere right here, plus this floor's coming up like 5/8 of an inch. Basically, do you see anything wrong with my plan? Would you do something differently here than what I'm planning?
So you're saying you're going to put some shim material down before you put your 5/8?
Yeah. So on top of this right here, I'm going to buy some like 5/8 OSB,
Yeah.
and then lay that down. But over there, where it's like a little bit like of a dip, I'm probably just gonna buy like some like thin, like just some very thin, like 1/4 inch like shims or something I can find just on that end, just to get that end a little bit up, and then relative to this floor, because it's not that bad. That should be fine. And then after that, this floor should be relatively flat. Vinyl plank goes on after that. And also with the OSB, I'm going to try to like shove it in here to like close up this gap. So like, so there's no gap here. Yeah, there's baseboard going in, but I want to make sure it's not like sinking in the floor. So, and then, yeah, like this trim right here is probably just going to have to be cut a bit so everything can go in smoothly. But then after that, I just throw baseboard. Like I said, it's like 7 1/4 inch long, so this should be all covered up, and I think I should be good to go. What do you think?
It looks like you will be on the end where you're going to put your shims. When you put the shims down under the end of your plywood and you screw it or nail it down, that won't cause a bow in the OSB, would it?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, I don't think it would. I mean, I've seen it done, people do it before, and I haven't seen it cause like dents. The idea was to use decking screws. So
yeah, if you're using 5/8 OSB, so a lot of times when we do that, we'll use the green like Hardybacker screws, you know, like they're you can get 1 1/4 or 1 5/8. They're Star Drive, they're green. Those have a nice big head on them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. 1 5/8 screw, so I got 5/8 going into the OSB. That's 5/8, and then 1 inch into this wood.
Yeah.
So it's secure. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, looks like you're going about it the right way.
All right, cool. Just want a second opinion from someone who did this, just to make sure, you know, my crazy idea wasn't crazy.
Yeah, no, of course, anytime. And I don't know if you have my email. I opened a new email just to satisfy that financial firefighter. So it's oldguy@gmail.com. I think I can type it in here too. But if you ever have any questions, Robert, just email me. I'm happy to help if I can.
Oh. Yeah, no. If I think I know what I'm doing, but if I run into a snag along the way, I'll ask for some advice from you. If like something starts going bad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, on the LVP, you want to make sure that things are pretty flat, because somebody was talking, I think it was in the school, they had asked about putting padding underneath LVP. And I don't think that's a great idea, because it would be soft and the joints might have a tendency to come apart.
Well, I wasn't planning on doing it for down here, but upstairs, I didn't do the flooring but I had someone else do it, and I told them to use padding for sound deadening reasons, because you know, footsteps here. But because this is the first floor, I heard someone say something about using more of, what is it, like a vapor barrier kind of underlayment because of the basement. I don't see why, because, you know, I'm feeling my well, this really isn't a subfloor. This is the old wooden floor that was here. I actually had Matt's hardwood floor guy over like yesterday to give an estimate of 2 other like hardwood floors here. Unfortunately, this hardwood floor looks like it was painted at some point, and since this building is from 1914, that probably means it was painted lead. So I don't want these floors sanded and finished, because sanding would kick up a bunch of lead dust.
Yeah. Yeah, when we do the LVP, I like to use Life Proof from Home Depot, and they make a specific underlayment for Life Proof, but it's fairly costly. It's like I think it comes out to $1 a foot, but you can use that underneath, and you can use
Yeah,
it.
I already have the LVT what is it? I bought it like God 3 years back. It's Matt's place that like American Flooring Corp that's now out of business.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I still have God, I don't know how many, like 30, 40 boxes of that stuff. And these are like what, 140 square foot rooms. I should have plenty. I think they're like what, I forget, like 50 to 60 square feet a box. So I have enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot per box. When I do the Life Proof, it's only about 18 to 20 square feet per box. But maybe what you bought.
They're much so I've seen the Life Proof stuff. This LVP I bought is like God. It's like 8 foot long. It's the same width, but like that stuff that they sold was like 8 foot long stuff. Unlike the Life Proof, which I quickly used up in my one of my other units. I believe that was like what? That was like 5 or 6 feet long or something. I forget.
Yeah, they're around 4.5 feet.
Yeah, they're big boxes. Well, this was also the stuff I bought was also what is it? I didn't buy residential flooring. I bought light commercial LVP. So, in hopes that it would withstand abuse.
Yeah, the longer planks would be nice. Let's see, who else is, let's see, Jack, are you there? Are you working? Maybe he's working. He had a question about LVP and camper vans. It works well. You know, we use it in bathrooms and everything. It's really, I mean, it is waterproof unless you get flooded and then all the water goes underneath it. But even then the product wouldn't be ruined, but the rest of your subfloor might. And as long as the surface underneath it is flat and smooth, I would put it in an RV. Who else is here? Mikey, are you able to talk? Are you working? It's still kind of early in Hawaii, I guess. Yeah, it's not even 4 o'clock yet there. So I guess a couple other things that have gone on this week, and if you guys have questions, just jump right in. I was just going to mention some stuff that we're going through. I talked to that lender. I always talk about Brian, but on another call last night, we were talking about DSCR loans, and I had heard that the DSCR loans would still count against your 10 loans that you can get. And he confirmed that today. He says very rarely would a DSCR loan not count against the 10 that you can have in your name. He's going to get some more information on that. He said one of the ways that you could avoid that would be to purchase a property in like a self-directed IRA, but doing that takes a lot of the benefits away as well. Like you can't live in the property. I don't think you can even schedule work on the property. And then you don't really even have much control over the asset. So I think there are probably a couple of benefits depending on how much money you have in there and if you want to just leave it sitting in there. But that wouldn't work for us.
What's the 10 loan? What I get what's the 10 loan maximum? What's that on?
Yeah, so you can get 10 in your personal name, right? But that's the limit right now. And a couple of people had thought that if you did a DSCR loan, it would not count against those 10, but it does.
Well, how would well, I thought the DSCR loans don't show up on the credit reports, and so that's how it was not going to count against you because it's the 10 is on Fannie Freddie, right? Isn't it like 10
Yes.
max conventional loans?
Yeah, he was saying, and he's going to get me more information, but he was saying that when you close on the property, the title goes through your LLC, but the loan goes in your name. And that's why it would report to your credit. Does that make any sense?
I get, well, okay, it goes into your name. Oh, so
Pardon?
they're saying the loan goes in your name and it will show up on your credit report. Because the only way they're going to know is if it shows up on the credit report.
Yeah.
So
that's
if they're not reporting to the credit report, then how else are they finding out that you have that loan under your name?
Yeah, that's what he said. The loan is typically under your name, but the title to the property is in the LLC's name.
So then it just comes down to is do they report it to the the credit agencies when you make all your payments or not?
Yeah. And what else? So did you
Hey,
have something, Santiago?
Can I interject real quick? Just something that was on my mind. Do you know if other than the actual meetup on Zuber's Vegas meetup, do you know if there's anything else happening afterwards or that night or anything else planned besides that? And the reason I ask is the ticket plus the stay is a little steep. I'm going by myself, so I'm seeing if there's going to be people out there doing anything beyond the meetup. So do you know anything about that, or is it pretty much strictly the meetup and then, thanks for coming?
No, last year, a bunch of us, let's see, so this year, a bunch of us are going in on Wednesday, and we're leaving Tuesday. So we all got together. After the event on Saturday, we all went out to dinner, and there were various groups, right? But and it was a little bit of a challenge because there were like 20 people in each group and trying to find a place to go eat. But we did have success. We went out and had dinner. Some of us went to the casinos afterwards and messed around. The event starts fairly early, so we didn't really get a chance to get together for breakfast. But if you're going in early, we're going to be there early. I mean, everybody is dying just to hang out. That's part of the whole fun of it. And then on Sunday, the same thing. So the event ended at 5, and then a bunch of us went out. Casey, Brick by Brick Well, she was there with us. Chester was there. Mikey, Financial Firefighter, they're all there. And of course, we went on, if you do go in early, last year on Wednesday night and Thursday night, they had the Denny's meetups. Dion and Millennial Mike hosted the Denny's meetups at midnight. So that was a blast.
Nice. Okay. That's good to know. That's
yeah.
So yeah, I second that question to like, Frank, since you seem to have very good communication with Zuber, I'm wondering if like you can get Zuber for the people who sign up to like have like a calendar where people can like post like events around the other time, so like people know like what's going on where if people want to organize. Like I doubt anyone's going to be as crazy and do this as me, but like Sunday night after Vegas, I was actually planning to head out to the Grand Canyon on Monday and spend the day there. So
Mhm.
that's probably a little too much for most people, but I'm also planning on arriving, Thursday too. So Thursday night, Friday night, I haven't made any plans yet. I might make some, but if like anyone else had any plans, like for Thursday night or Friday during the day, I'd like to know. It's like, where can I hang out with someone?
Yeah, and for a while, I think must have been Friday morning. A few of us had stayed at the Venetian, so a bunch of the people just came over to the Venetian. We sat in the like the food court, they were grabbing some breakfast and just chatting. Mark Oshiro was there with us, Mikey Chester was there, a few other people. So I don't know about like putting out plans per se, because everything was kind of done on the fly. The event let out Saturday and we all just congregated in the front, and a bunch of people just got Ubers and just found places to go eat. And certainly, you guys don't be shy. Let's just go do some. That's the I think the networking and hanging out is just as important to me as the actual event. I know Zuber hasn't really laid out, but maybe 2 or 3 of the speakers so far. But even at the event, there's various rooms that people just went and hung out in. Dion was in one of the rooms doing some videos for his channel, and Zuber had rented a room for I forget who it was that was doing the interviews. Chester, do you remember where Casey and a few other Coach Carson, they went into the room with a few different people and interviewed them for the ORAT, just for ORAT highlights and stuff.
As far as who was actually interviewing everybody in the one room that was upstairs.
No, who was actually doing the videotaping and stuff. There was a crew there.
Yeah, I never got the info on who that crew was. It sounded like it was simply a company that Zuber had hired. I never got the name of who it was. So
Yeah, but different things like that. They have we never got into it, but there's like a bowling alley, there's a billiards room, there's a weight room, there's all these different things there at the Blind Center that people can venture off into when depending on the ticket that you get, if it's general admission or VIP. The VIP, one of the benefits is that you will have lunches and dinners with some of the speakers that are at the event, because they're in a separate dining area. But Zuber's providing meals for everybody that buys a ticket, whether it's regular or VIP. And so I think it's 2 lunches and 1 dinner. And yeah, other than that, I mean, a bunch of us just kind of found each other. You guys, will make sure you guys all get my number. If you like, when you fly in, a bunch of us just said, "Hey, I'm here. Where are you guys at? Let's do something." And so we just went and found some stuff to do.
That'd be great. That'd be great, Frank.
Yeah.
I would love that too. But yeah, I wouldn't want to go for the trip and just go in and out, and that's it. Really kind of get to know. I know there's value in the course itself, obviously, and well, not the course, but the speakers and that interaction, right? But kind of building that community, right? Like you feel like this is now a community.
Right.
This is a team, a community, a family that we're kind of building here. So it would definitely be great to share some time with everybody.
Yeah, definitely. We, a few of us had been chatting on Zoom for a while.
Yeah.
Was somebody going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, yeah, I guess just on that note, let it be known now. I've already booked side plans for visiting the Grand Canyon, arriving Sunday night Monday. Like I said, don't know how many people would be interested in that, but just throwing that out there.
Did you say, are you going, you're coming in the Sunday before?
No. I'm coming in the Thursday before,
Okay,
and then basically after the event's over on Sunday, I plan on heading out to the Grand Canyon, staying, basically arriving Sunday night, staying over Sunday and spending the day there Monday, and then basically going back to Vegas and leaving on Tuesday.
mhm, okay,
That's
yeah,
that's just throwing that out there. People will, if anyone's as crazy as me and wants to do stupid things like zip lining across the Grand Canyon.
I'm afraid of heights myself, but yeah, so like you said, Santiago, the event is great there. And last year, I would say all of the speakers were great. There were a couple that I didn't really listen to. There was, I forget the guy's name, but the one that talked about stocks and things. My wife really liked him a lot.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
Denver.
Denver, yeah. And
Yeah.
the ADU guy spoke, Coach Carson. There was a bunch of other, there was like what, 10 or 12 different people split up over the 2 days. And he's also increased the time for lunches to 2 hours. That way you can do some networking during that time as well. And like you said, the networking is all it. I mean, like we were mentioning some of the people that went, and after we'd been talking like this for, 6 months or so or longer, and after making those connections in person, it just was really special.
Yeah, especially in this market, right? It's a tough market, so it's like more than ever, newbies and new people coming into this, and even not even newbies, right? But just people that haven't, like for myself, I'm not necessarily a newbie, but I just don't do this often enough
Mhm.
to really get a hold of it, right? So it's a different market now, and yeah, it's the circumstances are right for something like this.
Yeah, but it was well worth it, I think. It's been hard waiting a whole year to do it again. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, so you already got your ticket?
I didn't. I was on the fence because specifically for that reason. Just I didn't want to go in and out, and that's it, right? So it's a little steep for me for the trip, the hotel, the ticket, and all of that. So I wanted to make sure that it was worth it. And yeah. I mean, if you guys don't mind some tag-alongs,
No, definitely not. And two, I would get some other opinions. I mean, obviously the the core group is very, very hyped about it, and excited to do it again. But I don't know if anybody didn't have a good experience. If they didn't, I haven't heard about it. And even Zuber, he was just roaming around while the speakers were on, talking to everybody and things like that. So it would be an opportunity for you to chat with him, or Coach Carson was really down to earth last year. I'm not sure who's coming back from last year, but I'm sure, and the new speakers too, Matt and his wife are supposed to start. They're supposed to kick off the event on the first day, and then who is a PTO for Life is opening up the second day. Jeff and Suleika, they're doing the house hacking thing. I think they retired after house hacking for 6 years, and they're awesome. They're just so young and they're already set. So and then there was a guy, was his name Glenn, the one that Zuber interviewed the other day, talking about more mindset things than anything else. But he's supposed to speak as well. He's flying in from Alaska.
Is that like Ledbetter? Am I getting that mixed up with somebody else? Fred, yes. Thank you,
Fred.
Mikey.
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but he had it in the video, but Zuber had like 15 or 20 videos since then, maybe more.
I know those have been really cool. The ones he's been doing with Grant and his sister, right? They're family of some kind, but Grant being 16, his sister's 14, and Grant's been interviewing a bunch of different people on Super's channel. That's awesome. If Grant can get it rolling now, man, he'll be set before he's 25.
I don't remember I think it's I don't remember like the exact term for it, but I know there's like a legal term for why turning 18 is important. I want to say I think it's called like the age of maturity, and basically the whole point behind it is you have to be 18 to legally, I think, sign contracts.
Mm.
And so that's why that is specifically important. But doing the, sort of legwork ahead of time before turning 18, yeah, no, I definitely am with you there. Like that's like he can, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what goodness gracious. Basilia was telling me about there was this one young lady. Was
What's that?
was that you, Lars? Did you say something?
No, hey guys, I'm gonna get off. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get the chat on my phone. I lost it somehow. So, anyways, I'm gonna log off.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, and then
Well, there was I'm trying to look it up, but there was an agent in Minnesota that we were in contact with in the beginning because that was one of the turnkey markets. And he does the Real Freedom podcast. It's REL Freedom podcast. And he had some guests on his channel that the boys were not even 16 yet, and they already own properties. That was an interesting one to listen to. They started saving money. One of the boys would purchase the Lego. I don't know what they're called, but they're specific sets like they put out each year. And he would buy them, and he would wait until they stopped making them, and then he would sell them and make good money on it. So he started saving for his first rental that way. And I guess his parents must have been signing for him as guardians or something, because he started, I think he was 12 or something like that. That was pretty cool.
yeah, and then Michael had put in the chat, you can write a contract to someone who's under 18, but anyone who's under 18 can't be held to those contracts. So basically I'm in the middle of writing this down, but it's easier to say it. So that is the legal concept of something called voidability, or basically a voidable contract, which in long story short, sort of regular everyday language, so to speak, it means that both parties can enter into the agreement, but because of special circumstances like being under 18, or if something were to happen and the judge or a judge were to rule a contract voidable, what that means is that both parties can continue filling um, their obligations for the contract. But if one of them wanted to get out of their obligations, they can do so without having to face any sort of penalty, for lack of a better phrase. So it's a rare situation, but again, there's usually special circumstances as to where it would apply. So that's, again, more on the legal side, but yeah, definitely, getting started early, I think honestly is probably the well, not only getting started early, but having a path, like a clear path of like, here are the things that you want to be paying attention to and learning and understanding, getting into different meetup groups, accountability groups, things like that, so that, you know, it becomes basically second nature. So definitely echo those sentiments.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking of something when Santiago was asking the question about the event last year. A bunch of us, got our rooms already at the Golden Nugget, Santiago. Um, but last year, and so we're waiting. Last year, Mikey got his room on Black Friday. He says it's in November. He got a really good rate. So even though we have our rooms already, we're going to be looking at that time as well to see if we can get a better rate. Just so you know.
That was Golden Nugget. What was the other one, or just a better rate for the same hotel?
Yeah. We're going to see if we can get a better rate for the Golden Nugget. I think they have pretty good reviews. Cody, who's on with us sometimes too, his parents are either they just went there or they're going to go there. So hopefully they'll give us some reviews on their experience. Just so we know, we've never been there. Like I said, last time we stayed at the Venetian and it was pretty expensive. It was like 2,500 for the 4 nights.
Mm.
This year we're at although this year we did get a little bit nicer room because like we said, a few of us might get together. So we got a room that has like a little lounge area in it.
Gotcha.
To sit around and chat and stuff. And so I think we're going for 6 nights. I guess that's counted as 6 nights. And it was 1,500 for the 6 nights.
Oh, not bad. My sister went recently. She stayed at the MGM. It wasn't too pricey, and I gotta ask her. I never asked her how the hotel was, but that just reminded me. She just went to Vegas. I'll ask her how that was.
Yeah, that's great. If you know somebody who's gone recently. The other so Mikey was saying he stayed at the downtown Grand last time. It was 470 something for 4 nights.
That's good.
Yeah. So the other thing too is the Golden Nugget is fairly close to the Blind Center. I think it's within 6 or 8 minutes from the Blind Center. So that was another plus. And then if I'm correct, it's not too far away from the Denny's that the guys picked for their midnight meetups.
Hey, the Denny's situation there. Is that something that Dion put out on his channel, or is that something that happened behind the scenes?
No, he talks about it. I think he just hasn't yet because it's still 6 months or so away. I did, Chester. He might have said something right because he was saying that they were going to be there and be doing them all week before the event. They didn't do it Friday because they didn't want people to be all tired for the event on Saturday. So they did Wednesday, Thursday last time, but he's probably going to be doing it more nights.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably going to be the case. There's a lot of people, I know me included. I flew in and I think I had just missed the Friday night meetup. So yeah, I was like wanting to join in. So I think it was kind of like 50-50 on everybody who I had talked to who was like, yeah, I didn't get in until, Saturday or Friday, late Friday. And then everybody who was at the meetups, they all were like, yeah, you should have been here. So
Yeah, it was good. Well, when we went on Thursday night, and the little waitress, she was a little older lady. They ran her ragged, but she was a blast. She got some good tips that night for sure. Jason, are you able to come on and let us know what you're talking about on your comment there?
Yes. So when you go to book a flight, like from Southwest through their app, you can hit vacations on the bottom. and then it takes you through different things. Like you could book a room, a rental car, and stuff like that. So with the vacation package, with the flight and the Golden Nugget room from the 12th to the 18th, it's only $947, which seems pretty cheap to me.
Yeah, it sounds really like a really
So
good
that-
price.
Yeah, that includes the room for the whole time, $74 for insurance in case you got to cancel or whatever, and the round trip flight. Well, from here, it's from Chicago, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking about booking that because to me it seems like a good deal.
Yeah, and so do you think with that you can pick like because I want to go first class because I can't imagine going economy after
I don't think Southwest has a first class. That's the only problem.
You guys know, but the only time I ever flew was when I went to Dion's in March.
Yes.
And my friend helped me book my flight and he got me first class. And I was like so disappointed because I expected first class to be really luxurious and it was not. So if that was first class, I'm never flying anything else.
Which airline was it?
That was, I want to say Southwest.
Yeah, I didn't think they had a first class, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong too.
When you
was
go on
looking-
the app, you pick different options of what you want for the flights.
Okay, we'll check it out. Yeah, because that price is really good. Like, because I think for our flights right now, it's like 600 each, and we're only in like an hour and a half away.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but again, that's first class.
This is not. This is I want to getaways. They're cheapest fare.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's fun. It's getting closer. Everybody's getting excited. I know I am, but yeah, so there's and I've been telling people too to just be aware that Friday is Valentine's Day as far as flight prices go and room prices. Room prices aren't going to change, but they'll be expensive anyway. But for flights, that's why we're going in early and we're leaving Tuesday because Monday is President's Day.
Yeah, last year I made the mistake of waiting until, and this is a purely accidental, is I thought I had already gotten it taken care of as far as airfare. I already had the room booked, and I was probably in the middle of working on the, now defunct slash failed deal for the first property. So I thought I had already booked airfare and realized, I think about a month beforehand, when I got the notification saying, hey, the event is coming up in a month, and you'll have the opportunity to like check in and stuff like that. And then when I thought about it, I was like, so why haven't I heard from the airline? And I went back and looked through all of my emails and I had nothing in there. So yeah, that was a pretty penny. So there is such thing as a Economy Plus, which quite literally was the last thing because everything else was booked. So I was like,
Yeah.
excuse me.
I put on one of those alert things, that tracks the airline flights, but the first alert I got was that the prices were higher. That's going in the wrong direction.
No fun, no fun. But yeah, I'm actually pulling that up. Like if I was to share my screen right now, I'm looking at hotels, and then I'll be looking at flights shortly thereafter. So we'll not be making that mistake this year.
Yeah, cool. I know we got off topic there, though. If anybody has any real estate stuff they want to chat about, we're here. We're not going anywhere.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys know, so my situation is changing, and it looks like I'm gonna have to rely on a DSCR loan to buy a property. Do you guys know if I can live in the property, like in a multifamily, a duplex or whatever, under a DSCR loan? Is there any conflict of any kind with that? Anybody know?
I don't think there is, because it's just like a commercial loan. I don't know if that eliminates
I mean, I wouldn't think so. The bank wouldn't know anyway, but
right.
just curious.
Are you planning on living in it?
It depends. If the property needs some light rehab, I may live in one of them and rent the other one out. You know, maybe I'll pay to get it rehabbed on one side, and then I'll do a little bit of the work on myself on the other side. I'm pretty flexible. But yeah, that's an option. My lease here in Florida is it ends in December, mid-December, so I either need to find another place to rent or need to buy a property to live in. So that's, yeah.
Let's see. So your question was, if you do the deal with a DSCR loan,
Yeah.
Are there any issues with you living in one of the units?
Right. I know from a finance perspective, they're, at least one of the brokers that I spoke with, they're requiring 20% down, which, you know, I'm gonna have to deal with. But other than that, I don't think I really see any problems myself, but, you know, I've never done anything like a DSCR loan. All the properties I've purchased were always just very conventional.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you get a fourplex with a DSCR. Is it okay? You can have SAC. Yeah, and do you already have an LLC?
I do. Well, I have LLCs for the properties, the existing properties.
Okay.
That's another thing that I'm kind of, you know, going back and forth, is whether I should get an LLC or not, because if I guess it's easier to buy something with an LLC when it's a DSCR loan. But if I was to buy a conventional and then move it to an LLC, they, at least in Florida, there's a charge for that. There's a percentage of the mortgage that they charge, so it's an extra expense.
Mhm.
And you know, I was on, I think it was Casey's school.
Oh, yeah.
One that had earlier this week.
On Monday.
Yeah, and you know, her feelings about using LLCs, she's not really in favor of them per se, right, as much. So that's kind of gotten me thinking now, right? Do I really need an LLC? I've opened a couple for some of the properties that I have, and you know, now I'm questioning whether I should keep doing that or not, you know. So yeah. So now that's another thing that I've got to think about, is whether I buy it under an LLC or not. So there's a couple of things up in the air there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you go DSCR, I don't think you have a choice, right? It needs to be, you need to do it through an LLC.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay, I'll have to ask about that too then. I was not aware.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think that's the case, Frank. I was getting quotes for DSCRs, and I don't have an LLC set up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
you can do DSCRs in your name.
Oh,
But I
good.
think Santiago, I think the one issue you may have is if they know you're gonna live in one of the units, then they may not count that rent, right? Like for the debt servicing. So I think that's gonna be the biggest issue if you don't let them know, then it probably works. And then another thing you can do is if you do buy an LLC, you can probably just rent it to yourself as a tenant, right? So if you did use an LLC, then you can basically lease it out to your personal self, or if not, right, to basically have another tenant in the unit
Yeah.
to cover the debt service. But that would be just a couple other options, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is like they'll never really know because it's just gonna be a lease to the LLC. Yeah, that's a good point though. They for the whole the initial paperwork they might have an issue with, but they don't have to know that.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, by the way, just to touch on a little bit on the earlier subject from the beginning about HOAs, I had my brother reminded me actually, I had purchased yes, my memory's so bad. He actually reminded me that I had to sell one of the properties. It was a condo, I think it was, or a townhouse with an HOA because they would not let it be rented. So they required owner occupation at all times. So no short term, no midterm, no long term. So I actually had to sell that property. Like, I bought it and a couple months later had to sell it again. I don't even remember if I lost any money or not, but it was a huge inconvenience and something else that, worth knowing if you're out there looking at properties and looking at HOAs, definitely worth asking what their regulations are for rentals. Most of them for sure won't let you do short term, at least not in my area. But some of them might let you do midterm and long term. And like I said, for whatever reason, that association just didn't let me do long term at all. So yeah, that was a huge disappointment. But something I didn't know at the time that we needed to ask. So heads up to anybody out there looking at properties with HOAs.
Yeah, all these things are so helpful. I did run across that a while back in my work. We were a real estate agent hired us to remodel a home in like a gated community. And his plan was to rent it out. And luckily, before we got started on the rehab, they told him there was only a certain percentage of homes in the whole community that could be used as rentals, and they were at that limit already, so he wouldn't have been able to do it. Yeah. Seems like we might have a short meeting tonight. You guys don't have any other questions?
I have one, and I suspect this might be super niche just because of how difficult it was to find an answer on Google. Does anybody have any experience in investing in due diligence fee states? Or do you know what that is?
I'm
I
not
have
familiar.
never heard of that. Yeah.
Okay, so as best as I can tell, it's unique to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Texas. So it's not required, but there's something called due diligence, the due diligence fee, and then the earnest money, and those are two separate things. So what the due diligence fee is essentially when you make an offer, it's a fee you're paying essentially for the time that the property will be pulled off of the market. And if you close on the house, that goes into the price, and so it just gets lumped in. But if you cancel the contract for any reason, that due diligence money gets forfeited. And so in that situation, so I know how it would work. Like if it was just the fee, like I know Dion has done this before. It's like if there's something wrong with the inspection or whatever, you could just pull out and you get your earnest money back. But how would you navigate it in a state where there is, and again, it's not required, but it's usually like 1% is usually like customary in a state that has the due diligence where if you do back out, you would lose that money.
And
I think it just makes it so that they're like the person that's bidding on it, putting in an offer is just has to be a lot more serious than, or more
Yeah,
sure,
it's-
I should say.
Yeah, it's definitely a for the seller thing. And there's back when all the 2021, 2022 craze, people would be like putting 50K down for due diligence. And it's like if you find out like the foundation's cracked or something and you back out, it doesn't matter. It's like you lose the 50K. And so it's like it's not anywhere near as egregious now. It's about down to 1%, but still it's like it's essentially it would be like $1,000, $2,000 just because of the lost market time because you'd put it into pending.
I would I mean I've never heard of that, but my immediate thought is I would do a worst case scenario about the cost of the property. So that if you know you do find something that needs fixing, it's within the budget that you already allotted, and you don't necessarily need to back out and lose that on that fee. That would be my initial thought. Other than that, unless I what's the word I'm looking for? What anyway, unless I did that, I probably wouldn't enter into a contract. In my case, anyway, I don't know that I want to risk that. But like I said, I would underwrite for worst case scenario. Everything needs to be fixed, and if the numbers work, then you know who cares if something was found. You know, I did not intend to back out anyway.
Yeah.
seems like it would be something to deter people from just fishing and
Yeah, I think like if you're on the seller side, it's fantastic. But it just for as like investing, it's like, yeah, that makes it a little complicated because I know and this is what confused me when I really first started out on Bigger Pockets. They were like, just make the offer, get it under contract. And I was like, well, what about the due diligence? Because growing up in North Carolina, I didn't know it worked different other places. And I was like, oh, we're the weird ones.
are those the only states you're aware of that have it?
That's the only ones that I could find. And again, it was like it was so niche. Like Google was like, "Oh yeah, due diligence is when you're supposed to do research on the house." It's like, yes, I know that, but what about the specific fee? And that was really hard to find info on. And so it's as far as I can tell, it's North Carolina, South Carolina, and Texas.
Okay, that'll be something fun to research. I hadn't heard it called that. I think I did run across something like that, but it was a long time ago. And so there, the guys Zuber was talking with Casey about that last deal that she got and how, she made a low offer and things worked out. She got a bunch of stuff fixed and she got a seller credit and stuff. And we kind of ran into the same situation on this one that we're under contract for. I didn't realize it was brought to our agent by a wholesaler, and the purchase price was 109. And after in Missouri, there's like a certificate of occupancy. They do an inspection, and everything has to be safe and things like that. So they had a bunch of things that they needed to fix. They did about 3/4 of the list and were not going to finish. So we looked at it and we agreed to make an offer knowing that we would need to complete that list to get certified. And once we got our inspection, there was a little bit of hail damage on the roof. The roof is in pretty decent shape, but there were some shingles that had holes in them from hail. There was some windows, a couple of them need to be replaced and things like that. So we were thinking that we were going to go in and ask for like a $10,000 credit. for this whole list and everything. And our agent was able to get estimates for this list of items that need to be corrected, and it came to about $5,000. So we talked with her back and forth, and she was asking, you know, she told me, you know, you were buying it basically as is, but these other things on the report are beyond that as is kind of statement. And so she was asking for our bottom number because the seller didn't want to come down that much. And so we ended up, Cynthia and I settled at $5,000 would be our number. If we could get the property with a $5,000 discount, we would move forward. So I told her that's our number because we were at $10,000 in our heads. Now we're at 5, so I'm not going to go any lower. So she worked it out. Apparently I don't know how they did it, but they eliminated the wholesaler from the equation, and they dropped the price by $3,000, and they're giving us $2,000 towards closing. And they're paying in Missouri, the agent has like a flat fee. It's $5,000 commission on all these sales. So the seller is paying all of her commission. We would typically split that with them. So it's like we got like a $7,500 credit going through this sale. So we're pretty pleased about that. Now once we close, we'll do some repairs and stuff. We're going to get the roof fixed and things like that. So we'll probably end up putting in about $6,000 to get it rent ready. And in that market, this home, the one, like I was talking earlier about being in a better neighborhood, this one is in a better neighborhood, and the comps in the area for homes that have sold recently are like 120 to 135. So we're confident that it'll appraise, and the only, I guess, unknown is the rents. Like we talked earlier about the rents, you know, dipping in some of the St. Louis zip codes, but this zip code is staying strong. I think because it's more, you know, C plus, maybe borderline B minus, but so all those things came into play and ended up going in our favor. So we're pretty happy about that. And I think after that deal, our buy money is pretty much spent for a while. So we'll just have to start saving again for, like we said earlier, hopefully a small multifamily or something, change it up a bit.
So is that gonna be the for lack of a better phrase, I guess, long-term play for you, Frank, or is it gonna be just kind of like once you get like a couple more properties and you're gonna just kind of coast, I guess, really?
Well, I think we're going to run our scenario because you weren't in on the conversation, but Mikey and Cody and I were talking because we have 2 properties that we paid cash for, and we're going to talk to Brian and see if it makes sense for us to put loans on them if we want to purchase some more. What would you call it? On those properties that are paid off, the cash flow is very good, but the yield is not, obviously, because we got all that money tied in on those deals. So we're trying to figure out if we put loans on the property, what would our cash flow drop to, and could we make it up by purchasing 2 more properties with the money that we pull out of them? If we could, right? So if we could make up, just say we lose, I think we figured on the one property, we would lose about $400 a month when we put a loan on it. And if with what we pull out of the property, we could buy 2 homes, if they both cash flowed 200 each positive, then our cash flow stays the same, but we gain 2 properties. And all the benefits that we would get with those 2 properties. So that to me makes sense. And if we do it, we probably need to do it before Cynthia stops working next year. Just for qualifying and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
And I imagine that, you know, of course, depending on who you go through, whether it's Graham or whether it's Brian or, you know, anybody else, like, would they allow for you to be able to, well, I should have asked what type of product, because I'm sitting here assuming that it was going to probably be a HELOC that you'd put on the properties to simply just pull some of the equity out, or are you thinking of something else?
Yeah, my original thought was to do cash out refis. But Brian did talk about, he brought up the HELOC, so I haven't had a chance to talk to him about that. But last night, Michelle and Anna were talking with us about the HELOC scenario, just so we were not paying on the money, you know, because we wouldn't pull it out until we used it. I mean, we wouldn't start making payments until we used it in the HELOC scenario. So I'm a little unclear about that, because the interest rate would be a little bit higher on a HELOC, right? Typically. So I don't know how that would work out as far as the cash on cash return. But I think one benefit would be if you have a HELOC for the same amount that you would do the cash out refi for, then you have you buy with the HELOC and then you refinance after the fact. But it seems like there might be some added cost to that scenario as well. So I guess I need to figure out what those expenses would be, and does it make sense to do it with the HELOC?
Well, the one thing that I'm thinking about, and the reason why I was thinking more HELOC versus cash out refi, now, not to say that this is not something that you may have already considered or had not, but I believe closing costs would also be part of doing a refi, where with the HELOC, I think it's just simply, it's equity where, you know, you simply are able to tap into, like, you know, depending on whether it's, I think it's lender dependent, but somewhere between like 60 to 75, sometimes even 80% of the equity in the property. So, you know, again, if you've got the properties free and clear, and, you know, let's be conservative here and say, you know, Brian with Neighborhood Loan says you can pull out on a, I don't know, $150,000 property, you can pull out 60% equity. So you're looking at 90,000 that you can put into a HELOC, that's tappable, you know, whenever you want, versus, you know, putting a brand new debt structure on the property with a cash out refi, also adding in the closing costs, and then you know, of course, the on the back end basically of having the properties, where those will likely also have I would imagine also be ones where you put mortgages on those as well. So yeah, I would say overall it is going to be a rate dependent strategy. And then what your ultimate sort of long-term goals would be. Because again, just kind of thinking through the big top level or headline level costs, those are like the big ones that kind of stick out. Like the ongoing stuff you've already gotten taken care of through the rent, essentially, where again it's, you know, covering all of the, you know, repairs, maintenance, vacancy, all of that. But those, I think, are the only two things where if you were to look at it sort of side by side, that's going to be kind of where you want to have the um evaluation is really the best word of who's got the best products as far as across all of the HELOCs, and then as well across cash out refis for today's rate.
Mhm.
So yeah, you know, I'm not wanting to steer you in one direction or the other, but just wanting to make sure that, as you are making those considerations, like if there's more of like the play for uh higher risk appetite, I'd say, then it may be suitable or more suitable to look at, just purely cash out refi, and then um, whether it be 6 months, whether it be a year, whatever the lender requires before you can look at doing another or at least a rate refinance if rates go down. So again, different things to consider, but um, yeah, there's benefits and I'd say drawbacks to both approaches. So
Yeah, yeah, no, I really appreciate all the comments and suggestions. That's why I've been bringing it up, wherever we've been speaking over the last few days, just because I've never done anything like that before, and I was super comfortable with all that cash flow, right? Because between the two properties, it's like I think $1,300 or $1,400. But like Dion says, not to get complacent, if there's a better way to use that money, then give that some thought. But you brought up some good points, and I will talk to Brian. And he also mentioned that, say you buy a property and then in a year or whatever, rates drop and you want to do a rate and term refi, that they do their best to do it at low or no cost for repeat customers.
oh, nice.
That's something that you might want to keep in mind because you're working with them too. And I've heard,
Yeah.
I think Graham also does the same thing, Graham Parham.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that was part of what he and Allie were talking about a couple months ago, was that, you buy something now and then decide to do a rate and term refi, they wouldn't charge you anything to do it.
Oh, nice. That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so even though I'm working with Brian right now, I have already gotten in touch with Graham. So again, I'll, of course, shop rates and everything like that once it comes time to start looking at the next property. But yeah, definitely
Mm-hmm.
that's valuable info, not having to deal with any extra costs that are not necessary. So definitely we'll look into that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, all these little things, I mean, once we go through it, obviously we can help other people do it, but we haven't done it ourselves yet. And I I really appreciate that. Um, so once I talk to Brian and get better information, I'll bring it back here.
Okay.
And like,
and
go ahead.
I was gonna ask, is when I talked to, was it Monday? Yeah, I guess it would have been Monday. When I talked to Brian on Monday, he was, and I mean, obviously he's not here, but he was thinking about hopping on. So I don't know, did you have a schedule basically of like people who were gonna join? Like I know
More
oh
guests.
goodness. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can't remember her name now, but from Hemlane, not
Hemlane.
Dana, but
Yeah, it was Alexandra.
yeah.
I'll reach out to Dana again, let her know that I don't want to get her in trouble, but just to let her know we missed the call with her, and we'll try to get that reset up. And I've also been talking to one of our property managers too, hoping that they'll jump on for a little bit. And I haven't asked her yet, but the agent again that we're working with in St. Louis, I think I know her well enough now to ask her to come on, see if she will. I think that would be
Okay.
fun, and she would bring a lot of good information. I always feel like, you know, I'll ask her, you know, if she. We were talking the other day because a lot of stuff I don't know. Like, so she knows her market specifically, right? And maybe there's something they do in that market that they might not do in other markets. I can't think of a good example, but or just say like the sewer scopes, right? So I'm always concerned with the sewer scopes, but on this
Yeah.
property that we're closing on, it did have some roots in the line. And so right off the bat, that was looking like not a good fit for us. But then she told me that in that county, if there's ever, like, if you ever need a repair or a major repair or anything, it's covered by the county. So just things like that. And so I told her, and she's willing to teach me. I told her, you know, I hope she's not getting tired of working with me, because I'm going back at her with some questions and some requests and things like that. And she's, you know, she's totally up for it. She has no problem dealing with me. And I think that says a lot about her. So,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So I'm hoping she can jump on with us too. Yeah, we're trying. I don't have any commitments yet, but we'll keep working on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Zuber was the one who mentioned he would like Hemlane to come on with us. So, and Dana was super gracious and she was willing to do it. Like, I think you said she was in Africa or something with her family, but she should be back now and she might actually come on herself. So,
Yeah, I think it was either Pretoria or Cape Town in South Africa, something like that. But actually, we're mentioning that, and I know Mark had on his channel, was it today, Mark, where we were talking about some of the property manager, um, some of the different property management, was it software, or I think it was property management software.
yeah, I
If-
think I
if-
saw that comment in on his live. They were talking about how to keep property managers honest and things like that.
Yeah, there was that. And then there was, because I know we had discussed Hemlane momentarily, but then there was another one. I was like Appfolio, I want
Yeah.
to say, or I think that's
Appfolio, yeah, Appfolio is the software, right? It's not a property management company. A few of our property managers use that software.
okay.
It's pretty good. Well, I think so. Anyway, there's one of our property managers is on Buildium. That one's a little more confusing to figure out, but Appfolio is pretty straightforward. And then who else is there? The other two are kind of private ones. In Wisconsin, we're using Smart Asset Realty to manage our stuff. And who are they with?
Chester, were you talking about? Sorry, man, I wasn't listening, but I heard Appfolio.
What do you
Yeah,
mean
I
you
was,
weren't
I was,
listening?
I was,
I was cleaning the kitty litter.
Oh, great. That's more important than us? Really?
Well, you know, I get more affection from them.
priorities. We understand, Mark.
Yeah.
No,
We
but
don't-
were you talking about Renee today? That's why.
Yeah, so I remember when you were talking about that, and when Frank had mentioned that a second ago about Hemlane, I remembered that was part of the discussion that Renee was saying a little bit earlier about Hemlane versus, I believe it was Appfolio. I thought that was what.
Yeah. So so Appfolio is actually for like bigger, I guess, landlords or companies. But that's why he said he pestered them for months and months and months, and kind of told them that no, I'm going to be in this for the long run, and I'm going to have, so many properties and my kids are gonna have so I guess he hounded them so much that they allowed him to use it even though he's like a small operator. So he's using
Nice.
Appfolio as like a property management company.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like that's more like uh let's call it like seasoned investors, basically. Like, 10,
No,
12, or
see,
is it multi or is
yeah,
it
probably
focused
even
on
more than
multifamily?
that. No, just like it's like most of my property management company in Pittsburgh, they use Appfolio, right? So you're talking like 400, properties they manage kind of thing, right? So it's
Okay.
typically for like
Wow.
big companies that use it. But I guess he hounded them so much that they just like, I want to stop this guy stop calling us. So yeah, you can use it.
Okay. All right, that's cool. That's definitely cool. Huh. All right.
Yeah, but I would reach out to him, man. Renee's a cool guy, man.
Yeah, I actually did link up with him on X. I sent him a friend invite, and I saw like maybe about 5, 10 minutes ago he had accepted the friend invite request. So I'll connect with him.
I'll apologize to him later that I connected the two of you.
Why, Mark? Why? Come on, I don't ask
I'm
that many
I'm just
questions.
playing, man.
I
I'm
don't
just
ask
messing
that
with
many
you.
questions.
I gave you the wrench, man. I gave you the wrench.
We were,
But
I was gonna say, we were telling Santiago that you were coming to Vegas and he decided not to go, Mark.
That's what I keep hearing, man. That's what I keep hearing. Like people aren't gonna show up now because I'm going.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be lonely.
oh man. So well, I know we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but is everybody else, because I'm actually doing this right now, like I just quite literally booked my hotel and probably after we hop off, I'm gonna start looking at airfare. I'll at least track it to see if it's nothing outrageous. But has anybody else decided to come in a little bit early? I know a couple people did.
I think I
Um,
am. I think I
okay.
might. Knowing what I know now, I think I might, especially if Dion sets up those Denny meetups and stuff like that, because I wouldn't want to go just by myself. But like I said, if there's things happening, groups are getting together, and whether, it doesn't have to be planned per se, like Frank said, some of this stuff just happens on the spot. But if, they're open for tag-alongs and things like that, I'm going by myself. So
Mhm.
um, I'll be
Yeah.
grabbing some of you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We're all me, and Cynthia, Cody, Mikey. I think even Michelle might be coming in early. So yeah, a few of us will be there early. Oh, and Jason too. Yeah.
I mean, I might be able to come earlier, I can somewhat work remotely if like what are like hotel prices if I were to like share a hotel room or Airbnb amongst like let's say 4 people.
The Airbnbs were quite inexpensive from what I understood last year. Michelle and Anna were in one together. They had, I think Hyder stayed with them and a couple of other people, and they were saying it was like 50, $75 a night. And
Oh,
Pretty
well,
good.
yeah, I might come earlier if I can get that, just $50. $50 ain't that much. I can just code during the day and hang out in the evening.
yeah, if when you're in the other chats and stuff, just put it out there because we're, we had thought about an Airbnb, but for us, a regular hotel is better. Because I like to, after everything settles down, go and leave my deposit at the blackjack tables and stuff. So that was nice to stay in a hotel with a decent casino, go play, and then Cynthia's in the same building and stuff like that. So
And the bar.
yeah.
I'm not planning to plan it, but if someone else wanted to take the lead on it, but like last year, Sierra and Paul Rink, they went to Boxable. They went to go check out Boxable, and if anybody wanted to maybe plan that or something, if you guys want to check out that, but that was something they went to go check out. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, from what I saw on their videos and stuff, it looks like a really cool company. Really cool idea. If you guys have heard about that, they're the ones who make the ADUs, and
Oh,
it's based right there in Vegas.
seeing them on my Facebook feed.
Yeah. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
So Anna's saying she's probably going to do Airbnb too. Yeah, Anna's coming in from Washington. Michelle's coming from Washington. Josh Burdick was there last year. He's from Washington. So yeah, I think you won't. I think you'll have plenty to do, Santiago. There'll be, hopefully you won't be bored about talking real estate all week while we're there.
What a nightmare. As long as we don't talk politics, we'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no.
At least
If
not
they-
too much.
If they try to sneak that in, we'll quash it right away.
What?
Well, see, the good point is by that point, the election will have already, the inauguration will have already been about a month in the rearview window at that point. So,
Well, there you go, and we
Yeah.
can all suffer together. Yeah,
either suffer or celebrate,
yeah. You
one
gotta
or
be
the
careful.
other.
You got to be careful. Santiago, you were talking about the bar. We were sitting down there playing video poker for a bit and ordered a beer. It was like $12 for one beer. So, Mikey had the bright idea. He went into one of the little stores in the casino and got his drink for cheaper. So, got to be careful about that. But
You gotta do it like the kids do it, you gotta pregame.
yeah, yeah, I know. That's what we were talking about. That's why we got that little bit larger room to. Hopefully, I'll have a few beverages up there if you guys want to hang out and chat for a little bit before we go to dinner or whatever, before we go downstairs.
Well, that's the thing, right? We kind of have to meet up with each other on the off days. So, because if you don't meet up with each other on the off days, then it's not a business expense, right?
Yeah, true. Yep.
I didn't think of that. That's right. This might be a business expense. Holy shit.
Dude, when you do anything with anyone from this group, it's business related activity. That's why it'd be nice, if someone could like is actually as crazy as me and wants to go to the Grand Canyon to write that off as as business related expenses. But yeah, my advice would be try to like hang out with other people as much. It makes it more legitimate as a business trip in the IRS's eyes.
Yeah, I think Jack, I don't know if Jack's listening, but he was saying he was going to be doing some touristy stuff too. He was going in early for that reason, and I don't know how late he's staying, but there was is there like a gangster museum or something there? I was thinking of going to check that out. It's supposed to be anyway. And then there's I forget the name of the buffet. There's a really good buffet that Sam Barjo he goes to every time he goes to Vegas. It's supposed to be really good. It's like $100, but it's supposed to be a really great one. So Well, okay, what's next? Map tomorrow at 6 our time.
Yes. Yeah, Matt is tomorrow. Then I think it won't be until September that Dion starts the
Oh, the course live.
course lives, yeah. And then moving the members only to sometime during the weekend.
Yeah.
So
You got Dion and Matt on Friday in school,
Oh yeah, they're gonna be on at 8, huh?
5 for
nice.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, I gotta know. Oh yeah. Hey, what is today?
What's-
Oh, today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. You've been I haven't been able to catch your stuff live, Mark, because you switched it to the afternoons. I was liking when you were doing them in the
Yeah.
morning.
I'd rather do it in the morning, so I want to start doing one at the earlier morning and one a little bit later, just to. Yeah, I think it helps me get different people on,
Mm-hmm.
but some people just can't do it at certain times. But then when I do it later, somehow Chester pops in all the time and then causes a ruckus in there.
That's not ruckus. That's me providing valuable, insightful. All right,
No, I
can't
like
think
it.
of.
It's good. It keeps the chat moving, so it's actually helpful. So it's good that you pop in and it helps out. Thanks for always popping in and stuff.
Yeah, and that actually is that's good in terms of the like when I basically it's just about, the end of my business day, the working day here on the East Coast. So, you know, I'm seeing, 4:30, 5 o'clock time frame, and I'm like, oh, hey, Mark's going live. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm done with work for the day, and then just hop on and go right into real estate from there. So
Yeah, so Harrison was actually supposed to be on today, but he got called into work last minute. So
oh,
I was interviewing Hunter for like a regular interview right before that, and I said, "Hey, shit, man, Harrison had to cancel. Do you want to jump on the live with me and Renee?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So that's why Hunter just popped on too. So that was
nice.
pretty fun. Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
No, Renee's yeah, he's very detailed and systemed, and he's got that self-managing down, man. So if any of you guys are thinking about self-managing or what, I would really reach out to Renee.
Okay.
Renee and Hunter, is that Hunter Gore? Is that the one?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. He ordered a shirt. Mark, I haven't seen your t-shirt order come through, but I just want to make sure you know we don't sell extra small.
I want dry fit in. And
Ouch.
can I get a special color and then change the logo on the back, please?
I don't think we deliver to Hawaii, so it's okay.
Yeah,
I'll be
tough.
honest. I didn't even buy my ticket yet for the event.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on Hawaii time.
Your reputation precedes you. I know you. Well, you didn't even get a room last year.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well,
But I don't know.
don't.
I don't. Yeah,
What?
if not, I know Wisting always got room for me.
Well, I don't know. You were making some comments about him the other day. He might not have an open door for you either.
Yeah, but he don't have that much. He doesn't have that much friends, so he has to keep me around.
Oh, okay. Well, Cynthia said if you come knocking on our door, you better bring some cold hard cash.
Bribery. Love it.
It's gonna be fun though. Oh, who's still here? Okay, wait. Yeah, Kevin, you're in the fantasy football league, right? I think he's the only guy. Kevin, you here?
Yep.
Yeah, you're in the league, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So my plan is I want to get a belt, and whoever wins the league will get it at the event. Fantasy
pretty good.
football inaugural first year champion, and every year they got to bring the belt to the event to give it to the next winner.
That's pretty good.
No, there you go. That'll be nice.
So I'll get it to fit me already for the first year.
So is that is it the Crocs belt or the Croc like belt for
Oh,
Mikey? Is that the same one?
Do not bring up Crocs in that tone of your voice, man.
I'm asking the
No.
question. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
anything about Crocs.
And
I'm
you
learning.
what? Well, you got to
I'm
learn about
learning.
sports mode. But so I also plan to do a Crocs on the strip one day or night. So if anybody wants to join in for some activities to talk to people on the strip on if Crocs are smash or pass, that's what it's going to be.
There you go. Are your Crocs bedazzled?
Well, I don't know. Sierra is supposed to be working on Jibbits,
Oh, okay.
On who?
but Sierra?
You said gibbets? Is that a
Oh,
word?
yeah, that's the stuff you put on the Crocs, man.
I was going to send you a video the other day, Mark, from TikTok. There's a woman on there. She's called the Croc Gal. And
Yeah, is she hot?
She reminds me of you because she's always dancing around annoying her husband. He's trying to cook. He's trying to cook, and she's messing around behind him. Same
Yeah.
personality.
That's what I do at the firehouse. They say that I like to stir the pot. Like I just like to make trouble to everyone.
Professional pot stirrer.
Yep. Gotta have some fun, man. Shit.
I mean, hey, it's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Frank, did I tell you what happened? So I tried to go live. So I had a bunch of firefighters on one week.
Right.
And we started talking about all kind of random shit, politics and all kind of shit. So anyways, my next one, I'm like, shit, I thought I was going to get canceled or something because none of the links worked. Like I sent the live out and none of the guests could get on. Like everyone's like, hey, the link's not allowing me to get on.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, but it works now. So, but I was like,
yeah, no,
shit.
I always get confused when your stuff is advertised because it's on your channel, it's on Curtis's channel, and is that hard to do?
No, so if you use Restream, so basically I set up the link. It's much easier than Zoom.
Oh,
But you set up the link. If you have a free account, you can link 3 channels of yours. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever, LinkedIn. And then your guests, you send them the link, and then they can now set up their channels to be linked to the live. And then what we found out too is Curtis can change all the descriptions and the thumbnails, and it doesn't affect my side. So if he doesn't like my thumbnail or he wants to put his own, maybe promote himself a little bit more, then he can change the thumbnail on his side and it won't affect mine.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. I mean, so they have a free account. It's just, and if you want to be able to link more channels and if you want to be able to stream in HD, then you'd pay. But what I noticed is if you try to stream in HD, then there's usually more lags in the live.
Oh.
So I don't even stream in HD anyways. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much to learn about this stuff. You've gotten so far.
Oh, it's fun. You learn quick when nothing's working. When you're trying to like troubleshoot when it's live, you're like shit. Like Ariel went live, so he told me she was on a couple of my lives, and now she said she really likes it, so she's gonna start doing one a month now. So she had a live today with Aaron and Nathan, And same thing, she went live at first and she couldn't get anyone on. Like, so I guess this whatever software she was using, it only allowed you to use mobile devices. So Aaron guys couldn't get on, so she had to shut it off, and then she used Restream and started over. But and she's the tech invest, she's the techie, and she's
That's-
having trouble, right?
Is
So
that
she kind of joked about it, right? Like, oh, even a tech person, and even I'm having trouble here, and this is just part of it, trying to figure things out. But yeah.
Yeah, I know when I've done a couple on my phone, it's so easy on my phone. But then when I try to set something up that's scheduled, I always panic. I always think I didn't push all the right buttons and set all the right stuff and the time and all that stuff. So I just have to keep practicing.
No, you're doing good, man. I love it, man. Keep it up, man. Van Confessions, man.
Yeah, being consistent has been a little bit of a challenge, coming up with topics and things like that to even be consistent, because I was going to try to do them on Monday mornings, and a couple times work got in the way. And
Do you use vidIQ?
no.
So I would look into that. So that helps you optimize your videos. So and then also you can also go in there and get ideas. So you can hit ideas, and it shows you like what topics if you type in real estate, then it'll show like it gives you ideas, and it said this would be a popular one, moderate, and then you can flip through which ideas you might like. And
Okay.
then when you put a video in, you can go to it kind of like right after, and then have it generate scores for your title, thumbnail, and then it'll give you a score. And if the title, scores poorly, you can regenerate it right there. Like they'll give you possible options that might attract better viewership, and then you can change it right in vidIQ if you link your channel. And then it will also grade your thumbnail. What's your thumbnail? Like it'll give you like a 85 or whatever out of 100, and it might tell you, oh, this is good, and it might give you like an X on color or text. But yeah, it's pretty good, and it's helpful if you need ideas.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful. I'll check it out.
Yeah, trust me, I don't come up with half of this shit on my own. If not, I'd be talking about Crocs and the Chicago Bears every time.
So
Well,
while
then-
we're all
Or-
distracted,
Yeah, or I rely on whoever's coming on. Like I'll try to tailor it. Like if like Donato will be on Friday, and a mortgage guy's going to be on, so we're kind of tailoring it towards interest rates or something, and markets, right? And like today was Renee, so it was more like self-managing or property management. Yeah.
Okay.
nice.
Like Chester, I would have like, quotes and words of wisdom, and that would be the topic for the live.
Mhm.
You have to have something to talk about in order to, because again, it won't just be just random quotes of like, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Like there's got to be some sort of context there. So while we're slightly off topic here,
Slightly.
okay, yeah, we've gone way off the
I think
rails
we-
here.
I've
We-
done my job. Then I've done my job. You're gonna have a lot of editing to do on this one, Frank, before you publish it.
Yeah, I think he's dropping everything after the first hour. My editor. There's gonna be a big pile on the editing room floor. Go
So
ahead.
I was gonna say since we're getting close to the end of August and the preseason games are I think the last one is coming up this week, or I want to say what's the line looking like for Chicago this year for the Bears? I know you got quite the formidable foe up there in good old Detroit. Speaking of which,
Are you really a Detroit fan?
no, I'm talking about the fact that because I'm investing in Detroit, but I'm referencing the Lions.
Oh.
I'm a Ravens
no.
fan.
You're
Ravens.
yeah.
That's
Well-
not good, Chester. I'm a
What?
I'm a Steeler fan.
No way, Frank.
So now I have someone else to root against this season.
Frank, you got to be kidding me. So, how about this? Ravens Steelers. Either in Pittsburgh or in Baltimore, preferably in Baltimore. But what do you think?
About?
Coming to a game.
Oh, well, I always, I think that's one thing that I might actually jump on a plane for, to go see a home game.
You know what you
guys-
should do is
What's
you
that?
go to a Pittsburgh Baltimore game in Pittsburgh, and I bet you like Mikey and stuff would go to Pittsburgh to watch the game to see his properties also.
Well, yeah, we can do that.
Business trip.
Yeah, business trip.
Now it's a business expense. Was that? Who was that? Was it Robert?
Yes.
Was that Rob who was saying that earlier about the
Yeah,
about the business expense?
yes, I was. Be a little careful about that. Yes, the people who have to be more careful are the people who don't own properties in Pittsburgh. The people who own properties in Pittsburgh, that's going to be tough for the IRS to say no against. Like, it works in Vegas because we have tickets, like this entire event is recorded. So, you know, it's like the IRS says, oh, this wasn't a business trip. And I'm like, oh, here's all the videos from the event. You tell me this wasn't a business trip.
Yeah.
But like if you were to go to Pittsburgh to like on a business trip, well, all right, I'm not a tax professional. Ask a tax professional tax advice, but basically plan with a tax, go see some properties or something. Like
Yeah.
do business stuff. What is it? You need to be, confirm all of this with a tax professional. 50% of the trip must be business related. So like you travel for 6 days, 3 days must be business related. Good news is travel days are business days. And there's a little trick you can pull is if you have business related activities on Friday and then have to do business related activities on Monday, the weekend doesn't count either. Consult with a tax professional on all this. I am not liable for anyone who gets in trouble from the IRS from what I've just said. Do not take.
Yeah, the main sort of like connection point is like I think the phrase is ordinary and necessary for the furtherance of the business.
You have friends in Pittsburgh who own properties. Therefore, you're going to go look at your friends' properties to see, and friends' neighborhoods, and they're going to tell you about the area of Pitt. Go look at their properties and say, oh, they were telling me about the area, telling me what it's like. You're there getting a feel for a neighborhood. It'd be nice to go for a real estate agent and actually look at a couple of properties, have this all in email, have all these emails ready and saved so that when the IRS says no, you say yes. Here's all the emails with my buddy who owns properties there who is showing me this. Here's my emails with the real estate agent. Here's like I was scheduled to view this property at this time. You know, have it all laid out for them.
You know what's even better, Frank? You film van confessions in Pittsburgh.
Well, then I have to rent a van.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying you document yourself looking at properties with Mikey and a realtor.
Okay.
The van's another write-off.
That could work.
And the van's another write-off.
You could drive us all around to the events.
I'll just buy a van
All right,
while I'm
no.
there. Okay.
That would work. Be a little careful about. Basically, don't travel somewhere and do something that you could have done from your own house and try to call that a business expense. There are many people on YouTube giving very bad tax advice saying like, go travel like to a foreign country and take client calls in that country. And then like, that's a business expense. It's like, no, you couldn't have done. Yeah, exactly. Those people are about to get in big trouble because they could have done that for their own office. But if Frank wants to do van confessions with Mikey in Pittsburgh, then yes, that is legitimate because Mikey doesn't live where Frank is. Both of them, either one would have to travel to get there. It would be, he's an investor in Pittsburgh in that area. And if the video was about the Pittsburgh area, driving around neighborhoods, then yes, that there is a much better case for that than just, oh, I'm doing a van confessions by myself in Pittsburgh about some random topic that I could have done in California versus I have live with me in person a Pittsburgh investor who doesn't live in Pittsburgh, who has to travel all the way out here. Yes, that is far more legitimate than I'm traveling to Pittsburgh. I shot a YouTube video from my hotel. It's a business that I could have just as easily shot with from my home. It had nothing to do with Pittsburgh. Yeah, you'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
How do I spell Sharon Nelly tax advisor again? Wait, hold on. Robert.
Wow.
Sharon Nelly. I gotta.
I don't think that exists.
Yeah, the main part about it is like there's something called a nexus, and like I don't want to go back to the school days of thinking about, accounting and all of that, but basically the point that Robert is getting at there is you've got to be able to reasonably tie, like almost in a logical sense, to say, if we're in Pittsburgh looking at properties that I can only find in Pittsburgh to invest in, that's much more credible than saying, well, I'd like to learn about real estate and not be, specific enough to say it's going to be in that particular city way over there. So I've got to hop on a flight, maybe, get a hotel or a rental car to be able to go drive and look at it. So all of the stuff where it's like, if you know that, hey, this is going to be legit stuff that I can't do anywhere else. Like if I'm, what was the one guy? Was it Ty Lopez with the here in my backyard thing? We did that a while back.
You have to check out the local amenities out in Pittsburgh, You gotta go check out a Steelers game. I think that's research.
That's part of it. It's all part of local doing the local investor due diligence of understanding your market. And again, it just so happens that the Steelers are in Pittsburgh. So that's market research.
Yeah, hopefully, well, they seem to always make it to the playoffs and then fizz out after they get in, but I still love them. Yeah, I was just going to say, all you folks that are still with us are diehards because we've been off real estate for about an hour and you guys are still here. I appreciate you.
Well, I have nothing better to do while I'm working on my property at 11:30 at night. But wait, what was that comment I just saw? Mikey, I only consult on lead, not taxes, because I am a lead certified contractor. So that I will consult on.
Nice. That's good stuff. So, and again, I apologize, Robert. You said you were working on your rental at 11:36 at night.
I am. When else can I work on it? I have a day job. I don't, renovations are expensive. I don't necessarily have the money. So I'm like, if people know who Radeon is, we're kind of like the same people. It's like we work as software guys during the day, and we're just renovating at night. And because I was just wet mopping a floor nonstop, the hardwood floors, because I'm going to be out of town for like a couple of days to visit family, and I got Matt's flooring guy to he's going to be here while I'm out of town doing this. So yeah, you know, I had a lot to do to get ready before I leave tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Make sure everything's all set. By the way, completely off topic, Matt's a fraud. This $3 a square foot nonsense. He came in at $3.08. What a fraud Matt is. Still a lot better than those still a lot better than the was it $5 and $7 square foot guys, but you know, I gotta call Matt out. You know, even if it was $3.02 a square foot, he's a fraud. Yeah, complete fraud.
It's a lot better than those California contractors.
Now I'll ask this, since Matt's live is tomorrow. Would you be bold enough to say something like that during the live?
Have you seen me on Matt's live? Have you seen me on Matt's lives and the shit I say? Of course. I tell Matt he's wrong right to his face.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back
At all.
I don't. Oh, and Matt's gonna rip me a new one, which is fine, because you know that's why I listen to Matt. You know, he's the one who just goes at me and tries to offend me. He's not Dion, who's nice. I don't need Dion's nice talk. I need Matt's hard talk. So yeah, no, he will be. I will make it know that he's a complete fraud, because this was spawned in like a local Facebook group for was it Southern New Hampshire contractors, where Matt in that Facebook group, when he says he doesn't have enough time to do anything, he probably spent hours going after one guy, like saying how like trying to like some guy asked like, oh, like I'm looking to get some stuff refinished, like what's a good price? Some guy said $7 a square foot, and Matt like unloaded on that guy, calling him a ripoff. Apparently it was a guy who also like worked for him in the past, who, you know, had a showing up to work problems. So, you know, Matt, him and Matt, they seem to know each other, but boy, did they go at it in that. Some of the Facebook groups Matt's in, or particularly around New Hampshire, can be very fun to watch.
Okay.
What Matt go at some of these people when some very well, in that case, the stupidity was $7 a square foot refinishing. And what was there? There was someone was praising Pace Morby in another Facebook group. Matt went off on that one, talking about how great Pace Morby is. They had Matt had a nice conversation of wait till those sub twos all get called.
Yeah, that's fun.
So yeah, don't worry. I'll provide some entertainment tomorrow on Matt's live stream. There will be some entertainment. I'll make it known that this guy came in at like $3.80 per square foot, not $3. So fraud. Now, to be fair, as I was alluding to earlier when I asked Frank, it actually probably would. He was offering to refinish those floors I was showing that I was planning to cover with LVP, which would be cool because those are the original floors to the house, and those are like local pine and stuff. You know, they're like real hardwood, like treated and dried, like indestructible floors if they could. But the problem being is I saw something that looked like paint residue to me, probably lead paint. I don't want to, you know, the shit I have to go through in this house, like cutting open holes for electrical outlets in the wall. How long that took me just because I had to cover everything up, have a HEPA vacuum, have some attachment some custom funnel attachment I made just so there's no dust that gets all over the place, having to clean and mop everything up. It's just, yeah, just lead is just a disaster. Don't play games with it, especially if you're going to be renting to a child under 6, which I don't know if it's going to happen, but could happen.
Yeah.
You could be spending, if they find lead anywhere in a child. Well, first of all, now that I have a lead certification, I'm going to be getting big trouble if they find lead in there. Like, if I had to guess, I'm probably looking at a $10,000 to $15,000 fine if I do something wrong with lead now. If the child gets lead poisoning, because I'm only an RRP contractor, which is a repair and renovation, I can't actually, quote, abate lead. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, but I can't abate legally. I can't abate lead, but I technically can. It's all about a key of intent of what I'm actually trying to do. It's stupid government talk and stupid loopholes and stuff. But suffice it to say, if I was put under a lead order, I can preempt like getting a lead order, but I can't actually do anything about the lead itself. Like once I'm under a lead order, that falls under abatement, not repair renovation. So I'd have to hire. That's like I took a 1-day class like for RRP, like actual abatements, like a week-long class and a bunch of other things. But yeah, if Matt pretty much outlined it, if they found lead paint, now I have to move the tenants out. I have to pay for their new lodging, which could be a hotel. They could stop paying rent, and there's nothing I could do about it at that point. And just to like Matt, I think Matt was alluding to, like swapping out all the trim ended up being like, I forget what his exact number was, but I think he said somewhere in the ballpark of like all the trim in the house from like $30,000 to $50,000 because now lead's involved. And yeah, like he was saying that's probably like an $8,000 job to swap out all the trim on the windows and doors now is like $8,000. Yeah, not $8,000, $8,000 to $5,000. Yeah, something like that. So don't get caught with, don't have a child with lead poisoning, and don't have lead in your unit if you do have small children, because you could just end up in a world of hurt.
Yeah, that definitely. Oh, like, and as you were mentioning that, I got the. Was it? Might have been. I think it was yesterday. I got the corrected version of the lead report for the property that I'm under contract with. The first one, it was for a completely different property, and I saw nothing but lead. Like it was lead everywhere. I was like thinking, am I purchasing a lead bar here? And then I had to realize like, oh wait, this is actually not the property. Like the best way to put it was like, I think my heart was about to jump out of my chest because I was just like, I can't, like, I'm not gonna be able to deal with all of this lead. Like, I wouldn't put anybody in there. So yeah, so thankfully it's lead free because again they, stripped everything basically down to the studs and then effectively kind of rebuilt it from the bottom up. So definitely was glad to see that there's no lead. Because that could, yeah. Especially after the story that Matt was telling about the lead order. Oh my gosh. Woo. Yeah, so lead's definitely no joke.
Yeah. Hopefully his court, I bet his course will have some have good information about like things you can do yourself to abate lead. Like a trick he told me that I didn't think about is like if you have like lead baseboards, you have baseboards on the floor with lead paint on them. what he does is like you just cover it with like super thin plywood and then like buy a cap piece for on top, and voila, you don't even need to have RRP for that. You just have abated a lead problem.
Okay.
That was a good tip.
Yeah.
It's now all covered up, and those XRF guns are not going to find it.
Interesting. Okay.
Have to head off now. Time for me to start driving back home and actually get some sleep.
All right.
Yeah, it's almost midnight here on the East Coast, so I don't know if I think I might be the only one. Like, well, once you hop off, Robert, well, now I'm literally the only one left on the East Coast. So
Jason's kind of close to you.
yeah, Jason's in Chicago. So and I think everybody else is what, West Coast or Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason hanging in tough. I can see.
He's probably sleeping. Okay. We'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow in Matt's.
I'm wide awake.
Oh, see, there we go.
Oh, there you
There
go.
we go.
I'm out of
Okay.
the tub now. I'm sitting in my yard.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna go check out that Southwest vacation stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, it seems pretty damn good.
Yeah, quite a savings, it seems like. Thanks for the tip.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Of
Alrighty.
course.
Oh.
Have a good night, everybody.
No,
Yeah,
hold
and
on.
then-
I forgot real quick. I tuned in late. I remember Chester during the live today. You said you had big news. What did I miss?
Okay, so
Hey, wait.
Mhm.
Short version, quick version.
I was literally about to say recap. I was quite literally about to say the recap was I am one step away from being clear to close.
All right.
So
Yeah.
almost there. All of the red tape is finally been cut down to the point where I can see the finish line.
You said
Awesome.
you said your reappraisal came in $1,000 over.
Yes. Yes. So happy for that. And again, that's rarity, not like the rarest of the rares, but like, that's only happening like, 2 out of every 10 times that there's a reconsideration. So I'm like, hey, I consider myself fortunate and very much so thankful.
Yeah.
So that'll be definitely a good thing. Yeah, and then we're gonna try Mark. Sounds like once the underwriter has reviewed all of the documents that they requested to yesterday, basically sometime next week, I'm anticipating next Friday is going to be the close. So once I know for sure, we're going to try to estimate basically either tomorrow or Friday, but I'll get back in touch with Brian to have more details on it. But that's kind of basically the latest information is like essentially the original closing date of the 30th is what we're going to end up shooting for.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so I was telling everybody, I was like, it's almost kind of like a journey that's come full circle with all of the different, curveballs that the process can throw from, seeing the appraisal come in low and then all of the stuff on the inspection report. Like it was just literally everything, at least on the front end, because, still having to work with remote property manager as well as getting in tenants and things like that. So, you know, the the thought process about the what ifs and, you know, the things like that, it simply changes. You know, it goes from, you know, what if the appraisal is low, or what if, the turnkey people didn't want to work on, you know, whatever updates that the home inspector found, to, all right, great. You know, to quote Matt's course name. Oh shit, I'm a landlord. Now
Pretty close.
Yeah. Now it's what can be unburdened by what has been.
Yeah. So, but I will admit though, this part is going to be, you know, this part is the valuable part, sort of the trial by fire, that especially the newer and, you know, ironically, you know, I'm the only one right now until closing who doesn't have a property, but you know, this is the type of stuff where, you know, you're brand new folks who are like, okay, I don't know what I don't know. These are the types of things where it's like you could only know by seeing and hearing from people who are, you know, a step or two ahead, you know. So I would be like probably most valuable for somebody coming in who's like, hey guys, my name's Chester. I live in Maryland, you know, in the DC area, and I'm looking to get my first property. So, you know, somebody like that, like they would benefit tremendously from, you know, seeing me, or, you know, documenting, for lack of a better phrase, of going through getting to this point. So
We would send them to the East Coast Accountability Group.
oh, send them over to
Yeah,
Jared. Oh yeah.
yeah.
And which interestingly, aren't you co-leading that, Mark, from
No,
Hawaii?
I just want to get it started, and Jared now has taken the reins and he enjoys it and he's gonna run with it.
You know what I think I'm gonna
He's
do? I think I'm gonna hop in on Jared's accountability call. I want to see how that one's going as
Yeah.
well.
It's going good. They've been having like 12 to 15 people on
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
each week. Yeah.
Eight to 10 when I was in charge, and then now it's like 15 to 20 since I'm not
Yeah.
there.
Now it exploded. Yeah. Now you see how many are on with us. You have that effect.
I know. Chester though, but Chester on the East Coast one though, you gotta press a buzzer. You have a 30-second speaking time.
A 30-second speaking. Oh, okay. Got it. All right. So conciseness. Okay, got it.
For Jared's one, do you have to be a school member?
No,
You don't? Oh, okay.
no.
All you need is the link, right?
Yeah. Well, when Mark originally set it up, he said he had the Zoom link for people outside the school too. But last week, Jared had to get a new link. So I'm not sure now, Mikey.
Okay.
Yeah, so now he's
Mm.
using his own because they were using mine, but now since Jared's just gonna run with it,
Yeah.
he had his own link. So
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'm sure you can get it. 'Cause
yeah.
it's-
yeah.
Yeah. It's for everybody, not just the special people.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to see. Uh yeah, if Jared's in the if Jared's in Matt's live tomorrow, I'll try to ping him about it.
That's Cynthia. I hear Cynthia back there.
She said no. You didn't hear her.
That's hilarious. Like, no, you didn't hear me. Keep going about your business.
She said tell Mark we're staying at the MGM, not the Golden Nugget.
That's
Hey
funny.
Mark, you know
Alright.
on Facebook that what is that a bot that is like Facebook Mark's fan page or something?
Yeah, Dion texted me with that too. He goes, "Hey, you made it. You have a bot now." impersonating you. Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this?
I thought I told you do not reply.
Okay, yeah, I thought I wasn't sure if that was from the bot or if that was from you.
No, so the bot one says whatever private
Oh.
fan page or whatever right next to the name.
Private fan page.
Damn,
What?
you're big time. Wow.
Yeah, so it says like Mark. It has my profile and everything, and it next to my name it'll say like private fan page, whatever.
What? So you mean to
Yeah.
tell me that people have literally nothing to do other than find people that whoever these cop spammers are think that somebody's popular and they just copy all your stuff and then just like you wow, that's
But they
crazy.
send you a link, right? So they hope that you click on the link, like it's either like a WhatsApp or something, and I think they're either whatever they're trying to get from you or do, but you know, but
Well,
yeah,
there's
so
only one thing they're gonna try to get from you.
yeah.
There's only one thing they want, and it is not your time or affection.
But I don't know. When I looked, it said Cynthia signed up for the fan page.
We know that was a bot.
Come on, Mark.
I have to go make dinner now.
All right.
Alrighty, yeah. Well, yeah, and it's almost midnight too.
Yeah.
Get 7 hours of sleep. 7 solid hours.
I did
So-
my job tonight. I distracted everyone.
You know, he was going to get off about an hour ago until you pop in and cause ruckus. Oh my God.
Hey,
You-
now that sounds like Cynthia back there. You sure you're not there?
It is, trust me.
She said she's not.
I just have one request, Mark. Next week, can you clean your kitty litter on Tuesday instead of Wednesday?
Thank you.
He got on late because he was cleaning his litter box.
Oh, you're disgusting.
Hey,
Hey, what?
those cats are great.
Hey, you need to get one of those where they go in and it cleans it itself, and then you just take the bag out.
Yeah, I don't know. I do have the automatic water and the cat feeder though now.
But not the cleaner?
Not yet.
Uh,
But last year in Vegas, they had to fend for themselves for 3 days. I don't think I had the automatic. I just had a big bowl of food and said, "Good luck. See if you're alive when I get back."
Wow.
They were little.
They made it.
Okay.
Wow.
you should buy one of those automatic cleaners and tell me how they work, so then I'll know whether to get one or not.
Well, she moved out though.
The cat?
No, the automatic cleaner.
Oh. You know that
God.
the only one that's saving you is Frank right now, right? You know that. You do know that. Let's just be clear. Frank is the only one that's saving you.
What do you mean? You know that the picture I posted of you on Facebook of us got like 1,000 views?
Of course, if it was me. I'm actually looking forward to seeing you in February. Wait, did that sound sincere? I really am. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys.
I know.
Most of you. You said,
Yeah.
Oh. She did qualify with the most there. So hope you again, because she didn't specify who was part of that most. You have hope, Mark. You have hope. And I'm not necessarily going to say rely on it, but you have hope.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys.
All right, Frank. What are you cooking tonight?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'll find out in a second.
Felix.
All right.
All right, you guys.
What is that, Mikey? All right, everyone.
All right.
What'd you say, Mikey?
I was just curious if spam is a big thing in the mainland, like how it is in Hawaii.
oh my gosh, that's like one of my favorites.
Right? It's so good. Okay.
Yeah,
Mine too, Cynthia. I love spam.
hey, we have something in common. Oh, I love spam. And you know what's better when you have it the next day and you put just a little piece of cheese on it and you warm it up so it melts. Oh my gosh, that's like the best.
Well, that's kind of disgusting. I
No,
don't know about cheese
oh,
on
we're
spam.
yes, are you kidding me?
You ought to try it. It's really good.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Okay, that's new. I gotta try that.
But I
Yeah,
was,
I've never had cheese on it before.
Oh, come on.
yeah.
You gotta try.
Well, I told her I was going to have to come visit you guys and get some real local moco.
Yep. Saw Justin Cambro was out here, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They won't let that go so
Yeah.
they can eat. Okay, guys. Bye.
Okay.
Have a good night.
All right, everyone. Bye.
All
Good,
right,
everybody.
yes.
Bye bye.
See you
All right, have a
tomorrow.
good one, guys.
A lot of editing to
Take us some-
do. Bye.
All right.